To stage 8 of the Giro d'Italia, up the east coast, leaving Puglia and heading to the north of the same region. Starting in Giovinazzo for the first time in 6 years in Giro history. The 2014 race ended in a sprint in Bari. This one much more complicated on the way to Vieste, twisting and turning through the Gargano National Park at a 200-kilometre stage. 6 riders would force their way into breakaway. 6 very strong riders, in fact, with Ravanelli, Brendle, Holmes, Roscoff, Dowsett and Puccio, the latter there for the second time at this race. With 100 kilometres on the clock and the same number to go, Arnaud Démare would pick up the 2 points remaining in the intermediate sprint, extending his lead by 1 over Peter Sagan. That means the point jersey would be on his back at the end of the day again. 10.5 minutes for the breakaway, climbing the biggest difficulty of the day, a 10-kilometre second category climb. It looked at this stage like they'd have a really good chance of taking the win. Couple of crashes here and there. This one, I'm afraid, meant the end of the race for Ben Gastauer, the rider from Luxembourg, riding for AG Mondial. He'd not get back on his bike. He would be the 14th rider to leave the race after 5 hadn't started on the day. Simon Yates out of the race with coronavirus, Edoardo Affini, Sean Bennett, Patrick Gamper and Tony Galopin all having problems with crashes the day before. Talking of crashes, they would again halt the peloton. Brambilla down this time alongside Carboni, but both, after checks with the doctors, would get back on. Jakob Fuglsang had a puncture by this point. Trek Segafredo had forced the issue, but it was all back together and it was clear that the stage win was going to come from the breakaway. Second categorised climb of the day, the final categorised climb of the day, went just about to Alex Dowsett. He'd take the maximum points with Holmes coming over in second place. 20 points from the day for Holmes, a good return though. And after Dowsett and Brendle had both been dropped, Dowsett would go away with a second attack of the day. There'd be hesitation in the bunch, and with 1 lap of the finishing circuit to go, Alex Dowsett would be putting a serious gap to those chasing. He'd get 50-odd seconds. That would narrow down to around 25 with Holmes and Puccio pushing on. But Dowsett was able to rebuild his advantage in the final few kilometres. He'd already won stage 8 of the Giro d'Italia 7 years previous. That had been a time trial though, and it had been 9 years since he'd won a race on the road. Dowsett though pulling off a super performance and taking Israel Startup Nation's first ever Grand Tour stage win in their short existence so far. A second stage victory in the career at the Giro d'Italia for Alex Dowsett, the 32-year-old from Malden in Essex. Behind they'd sprint out for the podium places. That particular sprint won by Salvatore Puccio, with Holmes finishing third. All the glory to Alex Dowsett winning by over a minute. The peloton coming down 14 minutes later almost. Alex Dowsett, victor. That might help get a contract for next year. All those worries put to the back of the mind at the moment. And the pink jersey still on the back of Joao Almeida, 43 seconds ahead of Pello Bilbao. Kelderman in third and heading yet again into the mountains. Almeida in pink. Would he continue to hold it? The 9th and final stage of the first week would be in Abruzzo and heading up to Roccaraso.